Today I want to try out something new, something different. As you probably know, if you're watching my YouTube channel, I've been casting StarCraft 2 for many years, pretty much every single day, and it's been absolutely fantastic. But something that I've always wanted to give a try, even though I don't know the game nearly as well, is cast a game of StarCraft Brood War. So what I've got for you today is a game of Terran versus Protoss played in StarCraft 1. Now, if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you may be aware that StarCraft 2 is pretty dang popular around the world, but over in South Korea, StarCraft Brood War is significantly more popular than StarCraft 2. And I've been thinking a lot about the recent announcements from both ESL as well as GSL, basically in case you're not up to speed with all of the news. GSL in particular is reducing its price pool over in South Korea for StarCraft 2 significantly. There's basically an 80% reduction, and because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the StarCraft 2 pro gamers decide to switch games, but they may very well switch back to a game they used to play. A lot of them are very good at this particular game as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all if a lot of them decide to switch to StarCraft Brood War. There's a couple of streamers out there on LowkoTV that get tens of thousands of viewers, and in general, the top level players do incredibly well, so I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Anyways, so here's the problem with me casting StarCraft 1. I have been playing thousands and thousands of games of StarCraft 2. I've been following the pro scene for many years, but honestly, you can't say the same thing for my experiences in StarCraft Brood War. I've obviously played the campaigns, I've played it a lot over the years, but not nearly as much as StarCraft 2, and I'm also not as aware of the StarCraft Brood War meta. Either way, let's go ahead and give this a try. Shout out to Artosis, by the way, for providing this particular replay. Basically, he sent me a replay pack with a whole lot of games, and I just selected the longest one for me to go ahead and cast. So hopefully nothing all too exciting has happened just yet. Alright, so let's introduce the UI first, because I've hidden every single element. First off, this is called a mini-map. Okay, fine. I won't, I'll make the assumption that you know what a mini-map is. Spotted right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Terran SCVs, we have Scan. Now, Scan is a very popular StarCraft Brood War player, especially in the international StarCraft scene, because of the fact that this man speaks fluent English. I know he's made a lot of appearances, for example, on Artosis' channel as well, and, well, I don't think it's a surprise that we're going to be seeing him right here in this particular game. There's already a Zealot coming across of, well, the man right here in the top left-hand corner. He goes by the name of Motive. Alright, so Zealot coming across the map right here, trying to be as annoying as possible. We have a units tab right over here at the bottom of the screen as well, probably not all too crazy. We have a stats panel in the top right-hand corner. That very first Zealot, by the way, just trying to be obnoxious, obviously, just like in StarCraft 1. As long as you keep the Zealot alive, the shields will regenerate, and you can see it's already starting to accumulate a little bit once again. Lastly, and this is something that I'm not 100% sure on whether or not people actually like this for StarCraft Brood War, they did create an addition of a production tab right over there in the top left-hand corner. I know that there's been some debate over the years. Personally, I don't really mind production tabs all too much, but the argument, ooh, we have a little bit of a proxy right over here at the bottom of the map, it seems. The argument is that apparently the production tab can be a little bit of a spoiler sometimes with things that are happening. And at least historically speaking in StarCraft Brood War, you never really had that information, right? Anyways, we've got ourselves a pylon right here at the bottom of the map, and indeed, there is a structure added to the back of it too, and that's going to be that Protoss robotics facility. Now, of course, the units in StarCraft Brood War are very reminiscent of the ones in StarCraft 2. So, well, this is not a Stalker, it's a Dragoon. This is a Zealot, yeah, basically the same unit, but obviously all of the unit values and the way that they behave are different compared to StarCraft 2. Now, I did a YouTube community tab poll very recently. He's trying to get in range right here of the bunker. Yeah, so Dragoons can actually outrange bunkers like that. You can see that Scan was already waiting with a couple of his SCVs here, just to make sure that he is ready to defend against this shenanigans here, so... The only way to properly defend against this for now is by repairing the bunker back up to full. If there's another Dragoon coming across the map, which there is right now, we'll probably have to pull a third worker as well. Either way, shuttle is coming up right now, out of this robo facility. It's kind of like a prism, except, well, the fact that it doesn't have the warp-in ability. So we'll have to see what he decides to load into this. Okay, as he now decides to go for a robo bay as well. So the support bay allows him to produce units such as, for example, the REAVER. And REAVERs, of course, are very reminiscent of, for example, StarCraft 2 disruptors. I think I'm going to keep drawing a lot of parallels to StarCraft 2 units, just because that's probably the easiest way to understand roughly what's going on. But basically, REAVERs are clunkier disruptors, okay? They're very, very tricky to reliably control because they're incredibly slow. So having REAVERs out on the battlefield, they kind of look like, I don't know, slugs, snails, whatever you want to call them. They're very slow, very clunky, but obviously if you put them in a prism, you can pull off all kinds of micro tricks, and generally speaking, it can deal a lot of damage. Usually the way this is done in StarCraft Brood War is by sending that towards the opponent's mineral line and trying to deal as much damage as possible. Siege tank right now available on the high ground here, and that is now causing those Dragoons to back off. Now, I've shown this a couple of times before on stream. The Brood War graphics in general. I personally really like them because they stayed incredibly faithful to the original release of the game. This is probably what... oh, there's a couple of zealots in here too. Actually, the unit screen right here at the bottom is sometimes hiding some of the UI. Anyways, I really like the way that it looks. This is probably what you remember StarCraft Brood War to look like if you played it back in the 90s. But, yeah, no, the game was significantly uglier. Okay, Zealot, though, is going to be dropped off. At this point, okay, there's no reaction just yet, and there goes the REAVER, trying to just deal as much damage with that as possible. SCVs immediately pulled away, though. There's a couple of those vulture mines being set up as well, mostly trying to get rid of that Zealot here for now. REAVER has to manually rebuild its little scarabs here to try and maximize its damage. Good control right there, coming out of motive, and he is, yeah, now gonna start working right here on the mineral line as well. There's another REAVER on the back of it too. Gravitic Driver also coming up, or Gravitic Drive rather. That is the same upgrade as for the... Ooh, Dragoons here pushing through as well. It's the same upgrade as the StarCraft 2 War Prism. But in this particular game, obviously, it works out a little bit differently. For the most part, I think this will be cleaned up. REAVER still being obnoxious. There's quite a few mines set up here too. SCVs here also piling on the pressure. And right now, it looks like the Siege tank actually managed to get the... Wait, what got the final hit right there on that REAVER? Okay, well, the REAVER at the very least got killed just now by our Terran player. Third Nexus here, building all the way up north. As he's slowly trying to expand. We do have another REAVER here, already waiting for it to get picked off as well, but it looks like the missile turret may have actually just gotten the kill right there on the prism, or on the shuttle, as it tried to escape, but it did not successfully pull that off. Observer right now at the front. That's gonna provide a bunch of vision right here for the Protoss player, so at the very least, yeah, he'll see that he's gonna get shot at by the Siege tank, but for now, it's gonna be quite difficult to get much done. A couple of the vultures though, okay, did escape. And that is nice because those mines are dealing a bunch of damage right now, and they're gonna scout out this base over here all the way up north. Looks like, is that a full wall? I know making walls in StarCraft Brood War is incredibly hard, okay? Making a wall, it almost requires a PhD because everything depends on the spawn location and the positioning of all the structures. It's very, very tricky. Not nearly as easy as it is in StarCraft 2, but it looks like just a couple of pylons right there in that particular position. That's gonna be enough. Okay. The bottom of the map right now gets scouted out as well. There is another REAVER over here. So, ooh, okay, trying to make the best of it. So far, not really taking a whole lot of damage, and Scan is going to be forced to back off. Now, one thing you may have noticed in this game is that the units move very fluently. One thing that I distinctly remember for playing StarCraft Brood War is that the units never listen to anything you want them to do. It is very easy to look at a game like this, and he actually decides to dive in once again past the missile turret. It's very easy. Yeah, well, I mean, he's taking so much damage right now. He needs to be very careful. It's very easy to look at this game and think that it's got StarCraft 2 pathing. Ooh, great shot right there at the tank. It's actually dealing a lot of damage right now. Didn't expect him to go this deep, but it looks like he's actually maximizing the amount of damage he can really get done. SCVs are being picked off left, right, and center. My god, that one just flew all the way towards the top of the main base. Siege tank here running a little bit low on HP. Even my minimap might need to be hidden, man. I don't even know all of the hotkeys. I think, yeah, it's Alt plus I to hide the minimap. Okay, anyways. Yeah, the interface is gonna take a lot of getting used to. If this is gonna be a regular thing on the channel, The interface is gonna take me a while to get used to yeah, properly manage, but bear with me, okay? I'm just trying my best here. Now, I know, by the way, there's gonna be a couple of you that are watching this video as well that are asking, Lowko, does this mean you will never cast a game of StarCraft 2 ever again? Because I know people like to deal in extremes. Well, first off, only a Sith deals in extremes, okay? So, no, I will never ever cast a game of StarCraft 2 ever again, okay? This is the one that I uploaded a couple of hours ago. That's the last one. No, of course not. Of course not. Just giving this a try. Giving this a try in a way as well by uploading 2 videos in one day. I haven't uploaded 2 videos in one day in a very long time, but giving it a try. See how it goes. Now, I can imagine that for the foreseeable future, StarCraft 2 is going to be the core of my channel. I freaking love StarCraft 2. I hope the game is going to be around for many more years. But it's also, you know, if you have an idea in the back of your mind for a very long time, right? You may as well execute on it at some point. The main problem I found so far with casting StarCraft Brood War is actually finding replays. It is surprisingly difficult. I reached out to a lot of people. Well, a lot of people. I reached out to like 4 people. And nobody really knew until I sent Artosis a message. And he's like, yeah, I've got a whole lot of replay packs to go ahead and commentate myself. So you can have this one if you'd like. So, pretty sick. It's gonna give me at least a couple of games to give a try. Anyhow, we've got finally this proxy right now being shut down. At the bottom of the map, the proxy that was set up earlier, it is gonna get shut down. And you can see right now the worker count is slightly in favor of our Protoss. Supply-wise, he is definitely at an advantage, but I believe that's nothing all too crazy, because right now is the time where Terran is trying to turtle up. Terran is trying to make sure that they take as little damage as possible. So look at this siege tank spread. What he's looking to do is create as big of an army here as he possibly can. You don't necessarily need to expand as quickly in Brood War as you do in StarCraft 2, just because your mineral fields, they stay around for significantly longer, so there's a lot more resources to mine. You can indeed turtle up quite nicely. Now, a couple of these vultures, though, managed to sneak away from their base. Zealots are going to be running on over here with their leg enhancements. That is literally what the upgrade is called. Not called charge. They get the leg improvements, fair enough. Protoss, though, building up a nice little army. If I'm not mistaken, usually in this matchup, you do follow it up with Storm as well. Storm is good against... Are those High Templar? Yeah. Storm is good against... Well, not just the vultures and the siege tanks, obviously, but also good against everything that Terran's got here, right? It's good at forcing the Terran player to split up, and when they're busy moving around and they're, yeah, positioning their army, obviously they are not firing at you. One thing to note, though, about spellcasters and High Templar in particular, StarCraft 2 introduced this revolutionizing thing called smart casting. This is something you take for granted in StarCraft 2, okay, if you've played it for too long. Actually, we do have an Archon right here morphing in the back of the Terran's natural expansion. Don't think it's really going to be able to achieve all too much. An Archon drop. Can't recall it, though. Not without an entirely different unit. Anyhow, ooh, medevac drop right here as well. Or a dropship drop. Medevac drop. I'm going to autopilot into saying the wrong words, man. I'm sorry. It's gonna take me some time to get used to, but we do have a Terran dropship right here, moving on the right side of the map. Okay, trying his best to harass this. Ooh, okay, he's actually setting up shop over here in the top right-hand corner. That is a pretty dangerous position, because obviously Protoss is a much easier time getting in here. Yeah, he's brought an observer as well, so those mines that are burrowing on the ground, they get sniped relatively easy right there by our Protoss. Bunch of Vulture Spider Mines over here too. He's attempting to drop over here with just a single unit, but this dropship is not going to achieve all too much. Even though it can apparently fly out there for a little while longer, it is now opening up the front door here for more and more Vultures to go through the center. A couple of High Templar here are available. Mines once again setting up shop. And he's been doing an excellent job actually harassing this particular mineral line. Now these Vultures, they're certainly going to go down, but not without taking out quite a few probes as well. Okay, I thought I had a little bit more time to talk about, no. Okay, good control. I thought I had a little bit more time to talk about smart casting, but I think right now may be the time. So, if you have a group of High Templar selected, right? Say you have one control group over here of these bad boys, and you tell them to storm over here. What happens is that literally every single one of them will storm in that exact same position at the same time. Now, spells in StarCraft don't overlap. I mean, well, they overlap, but they don't stack. So you don't actually deal any additional damage by storming in the same location at once. Basically, all of the things you do in this game, it's significantly harder. Protoss can't warp in units like they can in StarCraft 2. Instead, they have to build them manually out of a gateway. However, you can't hotkey multiple structures in the same way, so you have to actually, usually what they do is to set up a camera hotkey to click individual gateways over here, and then create the unit that they want to create. Workers that you produce out of your command center, or your nexus, or your hatchery, they don't automatically go to mining. Instead, you produce it out of the unit producing structure, and then you have to manually select it to go to the mineral line after it's done. The amount of units you can have on one control group is very low. I believe it's only like 12, if I'm not mistaken. So you can only have a very small amount of units on one control group. Basically, all of the things that you've grown accustomed to if you've played StarCraft 2 for a long time, they are not available in this game. Now, I've got a feeling though that these Dragoons are soon not going to be available anymore here for our Protoss player either. He did go for a hidden nexus here in the bottom right hand corner, which is really cool because that would eventually turn into one of the Terran's bases. But this expansion is also now, well, I mean, I don't think he's seen the base location there just yet, but this base is stuck, right? I mean, you can't really leave very easily from this particular position. A couple of siege tanks apparently have been tasked with setting up shop right over here in this location. Zealots and Dragoons now trying to move around the map. There's the Psionic Storm trying to deal damage, but very nice control right here by Scan, trying to maximize the amount of damage that he's doing. And the Zealots, they are going through it slowly, but they're not nearly getting that much work done as they would have really liked to. Yeah, the Terran army here is just way bigger. Supply-wise, it's also reflected right now. Scan may have been behind in that department earlier, but he's doing a good job right now. Once again, though. Okay, good storm there, trying to maximize the DPS. Look how much damage that does. Normally in StarCraft 2, you wouldn't be... Well, I mean, if you can, I guess, you can storm a siege tank, but... Normally, that's not really your go-to option. Good control right as well with the Science Vessel, providing some additional support. Now the siege tanks, though, are closing in on that base that was found a little while ago already. There is that nexus in the bottom right, so maybe that one can actually provide a little bit of saving grace right here for our Protoss player. But Scan is moving aggressively forward. Saint really needs to get... Well, I guess his nickname in this particular game is Saint, but it's actually Motive. Anyways, Motive, an old KT roster player as well. He played some StarCraft 2 as well, but anyways, he really needs to get his money down here. Much easier said than done, as now suddenly there's a ton of siege tanks knocking at his front door. Storm once again trying to provide damage, but that is a very large group of Dragoons going down in just a heartbeat. Okay, over here that expansion will be cleaned up as well. There's an observer scouting all of the reinforcing units. This is of course the lifeline right here of Protoss, right? This is where the majority of his gateways are located, and if they're located in this area of the map, trying to reinforce things is going to be quite difficult. So that's exactly what he's trying to prevent right now from happening. He's setting up new gateways right here in the top right hand corner to try and provide a new area for him to produce. Okay, already though. Scan is moving on over towards that side of the map as well. He hasn't seen all of these bases. Protoss has taken essentially every expansion. But if you can get on top of their production... Even more so than in StarCraft 2, if you can get on top of a player's production, since there's not nearly as many movement abilities available, life comes pretty dang good for you. Storm drop right here, attempted right on top of the siege tanks, but that is only a few High Templar to try and deal with this huge group of tanks. In the meantime, a command center has landed right over here at the 9 o'clock position on the map too. He's been stuck on the amount of bases that he's had here for some time, but now suddenly, yeah, Mr. Scan is everywhere. Going for a command center over here as well. Looks like there were, well, still some of those stalkers, I would imagine, from, or stalkers, some of the Dragoons from earlier on. They are dealt with right now as the blue blood is slowly fading away from the map. Look at it, there it is. What a beautiful animation. There's something great about this game, and I can't quite pinpoint it. There's something... I don't know, you know, like in RTS games, the more you polish them, sometimes the worse they become. There was a time in StarCraft 2 where they introduce like automatic chrono boost and automatic queen injects. The more you automate, the worse things tend to be. Oh god, well. He's trying his best here to maximize damage. There's another Storm trying to deal the deeps, but I just don't see enough Protoss units available. Anyways, the more rigid and the more difficult a game becomes, the more impressive it is to watch as well as a viewer to an esport, right? Okay, he has been accumulating quite a few forces inside of the main base. Only a handful of units here are really remaining for scan, but he has to go through this choke point. And that is very difficult right here for Motive. He has done a good job though, spending his money once again. Scan at this point basically maxed out. The problem is, even if he breaks out of his own natural at this point in time, I've got a feeling that, yeah, with the bases here in the top right-hand corner of the map taken care of, and I would imagine he doesn't actually realize yet. Okay, now he's gonna find out about this Nexus. There you go. GG is actually cold, so he already knows what's going on. Even if he were to break out of his own natural expansion, it would be pretty much impossible to come back, since Terran has taken their entire side of the map. Hey, I am very interested in hearing your honest thoughts about, well, StarCraft Brood War and me commentating it. Let me know down below in the comment section of this video. Anyways, for now, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.